Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just jump right in today because we're going to explore something that is honestly truly fascinating. We're diving into the completely invisible, constant stream of judgments our minds create every single day. So, think about it for just a second. When was the absolute last time you judged something? Or someone? Or, even yourself? It's a habit that is so frequent and so deeply ingrained in our daily lives that it becomes almost completely invisible to us. We use these everyday labels constantly, right? We have the negative ones, sure, like he's so stupid or today was awful, but we also have positive ones. And this brilliantly illustrates how even our compliments are actually disguised judgments. These labels, whether they're good or bad, totally color our reality. They blind us to the actual nuance and complexity of the people and the world around us. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth do we do this? Well, it all comes down to our biology. We are literally hardwired by the brain's amygdala to make these rapid, snap judgments. It's essentially a survival scan. Our brains evolved to instantly evaluate our surroundings, deciding in a split second if that rustling bush is a tiger or just the wind. But here is the catch. Today, most things aren't exactly life or death emergencies, yet our minds are still just racing. As the spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle points out, it's our egoic mind at play. And the egoic mind is practically addicted to this state. It is constantly, frantically looking for the very next thing to react to or complain about, just to reinforce its own sense of identity. What's really interesting here is how Tolle brilliantly disentangles the physical situation from the thought itself. We naturally fall into this trap, thinking, oh, it's a dreadful day because it's raining. But the actual truth? The situation is just that it's raining. The judgment is that it's dreadful. Believing every single judgment makes our inner peace completely dependent on external conditions. Let's actually slow down for a second and consider this beautiful concept from many Native American traditions. They speak of the secret name. It's this deeper, unnameable essence that everything possesses. The moment we slap a permanent, simplistic label on someone, we falsely replace their deeper truth with a mere assumption. We completely stop seeing them as a complex human capable of immense change. But the good news is we can break free from this trap. We can practice what is known as bare knowing. Basically, this is the act of simply observing without labeling or evaluating. It's a profoundly liberating mindset shift where you experience things, like, say, taking a walk under the sky, without immediately naming it beautiful or ranking it against other days. You just experience it exactly as it is. Of course, knowing about this and actually doing it are two very different things. Mindfulness expert Jon Kabat-Zinn points out that the moment you begin practicing mindfulness, it quickly reveals this toxic, black and white stream of likes and dislikes filtering our daily lives. As he says, it's like a steady stream of judging, judging, judging. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, and this often brings up a really natural skepticism. People wonder, does non-judgment mean I just lose all my common sense? Kabat-Zinn actually jokes about this. He says, I'm not going to be judgmental, so I'll just walk out in the street in front of an oncoming truck. He's clarifying that non-judgment certainly does not mean becoming passive to actual danger. Instead, this mindset shift means moving away from that blinding filter of opinions and cultivating pure discernment. Actually, let's frame it this way. Discernment is clarity. It is wisdom. It's recognizing things exactly as they are unfolding without getting dragged away by automatic habits. Look, I have to warn you right now, even with the absolute best intentions, you are still going to judge. You're human, so the real trick is to gently notice when it happens and practice the meta skill of not judging the judging itself. Just catch yourself doing it, smile at your brain's wiring, and simply let it go without beating yourself up. Practically speaking, how do we do this? Well, you can interrupt an automatic snap judgment by flashing these mental breathing room phrases. When you feel a harsh label forming, just tell yourself, I'm not sure, or I don't know, maybe so. These phrases act like a mental circuit breaker, inviting curiosity rather than a knee-jerk reaction. And this practice applies directly to how we interact with others, too. When someone shares a problem with you, keep an eye out for these phrases forming in your mind or leaving your mouth. You should, or if it were me. These are telltale signs your ego is jumping in to predict the ending, fix the situation, or just feel smart rather than simply listening. You know how it goes. Sometimes other people will try to nudge you into judging with them, baiting you into gossip. Like, don't you think Steph is just mean? Simply refusing to take that bait is an absolute superpower. Offering a gentle reframe, like maybe Steph was just having a bad day, instantly diffuses the negativity and returns the whole situation to open compassion. The old soul interview, putting bare knowing into practice. To really test this philosophy out in the real world, we can try this absolutely fascinating exercise called the Old Soul Assignment. The first step, choose your person. Pick someone whose life experience has given them real perspective, maybe a grandparent, a mentor, or an older friend. You sit down with them to honestly hear their reflections on the lessons they've learned over a lifetime. Think of this as basically a boot camp for non-judgment. The core rule here is to listen fully without your ego taking over. You don't advise, you don't fix, you actively notice your own internal labels trying to form, you gently set them aside, and you allow the other person complete space to speak their truth. And a really vital part of that space is silence. A silence in a deep conversation doesn't need to be desperately filled. Leaving space gives someone the incredibly rare gift of making sense of their own life out loud, right in front of you. And that is the ultimate gift of presence. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a profound, lingering question drawn straight from the essence of bare knowing. If you looked at the world, at your friends, your commute, the weather outside, without your labels, what would you actually see? I challenge you to drop the judgments today, just for a moment, and experience the world exactly as it is.